The work of motherhood is often demanding, with very little, if any, thank yous along the way. The endless workload, coupled with the responsibility of fueling the family, can simply be overwhelming. A recent study surveyed 2,000 moms and discovered they worked roughly 98 hours a week, or about 14 hours a day. Although the job of mother may be difficult, it is all worthwhile to see those smiling faces. Following our hearts and making a difference in the lives of others seem to collide with one title: Mom. Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies' mission is to improve maternal and infant health through advocacy, education, and access to vital resources. Since 1974, Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies Coalition of Georgia has been the strongest statewide voice for improved access to health care and the health outcomes for Georgia's mothers and babies. In alignment with our mission and work, Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies is excited to honor 6 phenomenal women in the 2018 Inspiring Mothers of Georgia Award at our 2nd annual Mother's Day Luncheon.
I have a favorite quote. It's by Dr. Benjamin E. Mays. It says, "If every person is born into this world to do something distinctive and something unique, and if he or she doesn't do it, it'll never be done." So as I was knocking on doors and talking to voters and just being involved in the community, I realized that in many ways our education system is broken. And so what's sad is that the zip code of a child often determines the quality of education that they get. And that's not right. And there are wealthy families who get to make those options because they move into a neighborhood where the schools are great, or they can pay for a private education. But if you are poor or middle class, you don't always have those choices. And I believe that it is a child's civil right to have access to a high quality education, and that their zip code should not be the determining factor. My name is Alisha Thomas Cromartie. I am the superintendent of Ivy Preparatory Academies. We are an all-girls public charter school network in the metro Atlanta area. I'm a mom of a 10-year-old 5th grade student, Layla Morgan, and I'm proud to have such a wonderful daughter who is sweet and kind and generous, and also wants to be involved in the community and cares a lot about social justice issues. I love our drives home when she's talking to me about the girl in her class who may not have had her lunch for the day and how she shared her lunch. It's also a privilege to be a mom to hundreds of other girls. One of the things that I love about my job is I sit with my door open. My office is in one of the schools, and I sit with my door open because I want to see the girls. I want them to come in and give me a hug, tell me about their weekend, tell me about their day. If they've got a frown on their face, I want to be the one to turn that frown upside down.
And there are times that client cries, I cry with her, whoever is assisting us is emotional as well. So it's been like that all these years. But at the end, the client is really happy, she's safe, and that gives me satisfaction, that gives me hope that we're doing, helping one woman, one family at a time, and eventually they would be living in a safe environment, safe house, where I don't think anybody deserves to be treated unfairly or abused for something that they don't deserve or they didn't do. My name is Limia. I am the director of the Domestic Violence Program at Tapestry. Tapestry is a nonprofit organization. We help victims of domestic violence and human trafficking. We serve immigrants and refugees. And I'm originally from Ethiopia. I've been here over 16 years. I'm married and I have 2 kids, a 5-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl. And they really keep me very active and busy. I come from a large family. Back home, we grew up in a big house with a lot of family around us. My son, whenever I take off clothes that don't fit him anymore, I tell him we're going to give this away to people that needed, and I bring it here most of the time. So he always says, okay, you can give this, and he picks out clothes and his shoes and stuff sometimes for me. I always wanted, once I moved to the US and I started my master's degree while I was in school, I always wanted to volunteer, but I wanted to volunteer in a nonprofit working with immigrant population because I would connect more to that community.
Everything was fine for about 6 months with him. And then that's when the depression really set in with me with the second delivery. So again, we've gone through, now this is 2 babies, and we still aren't really aware of what's wrong. We know something's not right, but we don't know what. So at that point, when the depression set in really hard with the second one, it was literally like, you don't know how you're gonna get through the next day. Like the overwhelming feel of hopelessness and dread. And it's very cliche when they say you cry a lot, but there were times when I was just so overwhelmed that I would cry for no reason. And it was like a deep, aching cry. It wasn't just like you see a commercial and, you know, it's a puppy and you cry kind of thing. And the anxiety, the constant racing thoughts would happen. Are they sleeping enough? Are they not sleeping enough? Am I feeding him enough? Am I not feeding him enough? And this constant worry. I'm Amy Korn, and I'm a maternal mental health advocate. My husband and I have 2 children, ages 9 and 6, and I volunteer with the PSI Georgia Board. I chair the Program and Education Committee, and I also have the privilege of serving as a state coordinator for Georgia, which means I get to connect moms and dads and partners and family members with resources wherever they're at in our state. And I'm also a 2-time survivor of postpartum depression and anxiety. And so when things got really bad, and it was explained to me what was happening, I knew right then that I would spend the rest of my time trying to help other moms. And so it's really important to understand you can get well and you can enjoy being a mom. And to where I started out and I was miserable and I was so unhappy and I didn't enjoy being a mom, to now I love being a mom. It's the greatest thing that I've ever been gifted with. And I want moms to know that there is hope, there is light at the end of this tunnel.
I have a lot of special stories. My babies from school, where they always become the mamas to my baby. And they're no bigger than him. Mm-hmm. Those are my many, many special stories. Because I meet them and they always ask, and it's saddening for me sometimes because it's a moment they don't understand. And they always want to know, where is he? And did he do something wrong? And they want to know that they do anything wrong, that he's not there. My name is Patrice Wilson. I became a mother at the tender age of 17 to a 2-pound, 4-ounce little boy by the name of Aaron. Aaron was due to be born in October. Unfortunately, he was born at 29 weeks. Being born prematurely, he stayed in the hospital for 2.5 months. While in the hospital, Aaron endured jaundice as well as a staph infection. Sadly, the staph infection took a major effect on him. Upon going through this infection, I was called in for a conference, my family and I. The doctor talked about all the health issues Aaron would endure with being premature and enduring the staph infection. He asked me to give my son up for adoption. To be asked such a question, to give my child up for adoption, gave me strength, determination, and to know I would never give up and allow him to be right about being a young teen mother. Upon having Aaron, he has made me unique in many, many ways, whereas I became a leader in my community with wanting to help many mothers as well as kids. I participated in many functions. I became a board member of Georgia Easter Seals, parent-to-parent navigational leader, as well as I started my own organization called Miraculous Blossom. Also, I have taken part in Healthy Start. Healthy Start is where it all began for me. That's where I met Ms. Deborah Griffin, where she invited me out to do speaking. So Aaron passed October 4, 2017 at the age of 15. He's always here with us mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. There's not going to be a room you enter where there's not a ray of sunshine, and displays his journey through life. That just talks about being a son as well as me being a mother. Here we have moments we share as a mother and son time where we pretty much always dress alike, are mistaken for brother and sister.
How I inspire other women to move past any challenges or obstacles that they've had is to tell my own truth. And I tell it raw. Had my share of troubles. I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse by a very close family member. I am also a survivor of intimate partner violence during my teen years when I was pregnant with my son. And then I'm also a survivor of domestic violence. Advocacy is what I do. I'm Dr. Kerry Norris, the Chief of Health Policy and Administration at the Fulton DeKalb Hospital Authority. I've been working in public health for over 17 years. I am the proud mother of an adult son and a 5-year-old grandson. Started getting involved with the community at about 14 years old and volunteering in my neighborhood community, volunteering in the local Atlanta community, and then as I've aged, that's progressed to volunteering with national organizations and sitting on some of the board of directors for national organizations. We're of several board of directors, including the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, for which we advocate on behalf of women and children who are survivors and also who are victims of domestic violence. And that has been a great part of the work that I do. And it's about balance. And so there are 24 hours in a day for most people. I have 27. So for me, it's just like breathing because I've been doing it for so long. So it never seems exhausting. It never seems overwhelming. It never seems like I'm doing too much. And I always tell my son that my greatest legacy is to leave him and my grandchildren something that they can look at and say, you know, she was really active. You know, she really made a difference. She didn't just sit back and watch it happen or watch other people do the work. I don't want to be the person on the sideline.
My daughter was non-speaking and she was autistic. So I was constantly, I felt like it's like in your soul, constantly fighting just for acceptance. Even with the schools, I felt like I had to prove her value just to have her go to school with other kids. So I guess that's where I get the fight in me, you know, I am a mother. I will fight like a mother bear for other folks. I am Faye Montgomery. I am a mother of 4 children. My daughter Olivia, who passed away in 2014, and then I have Jackson, who's 13, Josephine is 10 and a half, and then Ingrid is my 15-month-old. Pretty much from the beginning had developmental delays, and so with her being my firstborn, it was like as soon as she was born, I was just dropped like a roller coaster into being a mom of a child with a disability. I just started meeting advocates in the area one at a time, and when I met one person, that led to meeting other people. Eventually, I had met a whole network of advocates in Savannah. Anyway, then my daughter Olivia was killed in an accident in May of 2014. And she was in the ICU for 2 days before she died, and I promised her that no one would forget about her and that she would have a legacy. And coincidentally, then 2 months after she passed away, the Matthew Reardon Center for Autism asked me to come work for them. And so I am now the advocacy director there. My North Star dream is a community where everyone, despite disabilities, is included.
These 6 women have one thread in common. They're determined to make a lasting impact on their children and the communities around them. They are affecting change in their homes and communities. When we have healthy, educated mothers, we do better as a community and as a state. Thank you for inspiring us to reach higher for our families, our children, and ourselves. Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies Coalition of Georgia, supporting families since 1974.